What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm going to be back today with more Konosuba. Now, today we're going to be talking, well, about the All-Crown achievement. We kind of mentioned this in passing yesterday, but I think this brings up a really interesting discussion piece, and if you're not really familiar with what I'm talking about here, let me kind of go back to the other games that we play, the Danmachi game, the Dokkan, and all that stuff. I've been a big proponent in those games of not EOLing the game. In other words, not finishing all the events, leaving some of the in-game currency up for grabs, and things like that, because it does help when you go into big events and you suddenly have a lot that you can farm. Now, Konosuba is extremely, and I mean extremely different in the regards that you basically have to EOL the game, but it seems like there is enough other quartz up for grabs. They reward us pretty frequently. If you're good with your savings, I will emphasize you got to be pretty good with your savings, you can still manage. Now, for me personally, if I kind of go out here, I'm still chilling on 26,000. 26,000 quartz that I'm just kind of chilling on. Like, I've got ideas, I've got plans, and I do have things I want to do. I saved most of my summons, with the exception of the tickets yesterday, just because I do get a little finicky with tickets. But I saved most of my summons for the streams. So, if you guys aren't joining us in the streams, those are Thursday nights and Saturday nights. So make sure you're doing that. But, shameless plugging aside, also hit that old thumbs up button if you are enjoying the Konosuba content. Things like that aside, it's fairly easy to just save Iris in the game, because as I've been very vocal about before, a lot of the recruitments right here, you know, most of the recruitments we receive, really the best units tend to come from, well, the general pool. The first set of units we got tend to be some of the better ones. So I'm not in a huge rush to go after a unit unless there's some specific, in the case of this Wiz and the Swimsuit Wiz and pretty much every other unit like this, cultural, shall we call them, excuses for doing some summons. But most of the really top tier units of the game, you get pretty much from the general pool. Now, the only thing I will say is eventually we are going to want to build a few teams of certain elements. But being that I'm sitting on 26,000 right now, I'm not really worried. When it comes time to do some summons, I can do some emergency summons, I can upgrade some units, but largely I'm waiting for the 4-star tickets. So for me, it's a big habit in this game to make sure I save, to avoid going to the recruitment unless absolutely necessary and at all possible. So that's why when I do a lot of the, you know, other events, you'll see that I use a lot of 2 stars, probably more 3 stars nowadays than 3 and 4 stars than 2 stars, but you could still viably get away with 2 stars on certain situations. So while that does kind of negate my teams a little bit, I'm still working on how to get, you know, those top tier scores out of these events without having to go crazy on the summons, because once you run out of quartz, well, I mean, it comes, but it goes so much faster. Now, how does this kind of relate to EOL? Well, simply put, let's kind of define EOL. So if I go in here to the main quests, okay, you'll notice that I'm 100% on all my normal quests, and I literally only have one hard quest left to finish, and that's because, well, I need to work on my win team. My win team cannot quite achieve this last crown. Now, if you're not familiar, the Triple Crown, basically, if we go into this one specifically, it'll tell us, with the little info button, defeat all enemies, defeat fewer than 2 party KOs, finish in 60 seconds. That's the one I'm having some trouble with. So you don't have to complete all those in a single run. Now that I've got 2 crowns, all I've got to do is get a 60-second win, and we're done. Now, I might actually have the team to do it. I just haven't thrown the team at it or really given it like a huge amount of effort at this point. But neither here nor there. You can get the Triple Crown basically anytime. If you don't complete it perfectly the first time, get the 1 or 2 crowns that you got like I do, and then go for that 60-second or whatever that final hurdle is. And it doesn't matter if you get 2 unit KOs. Doesn't matter if, whatever other caveat is in there, if you're using the right units or whatever, whatever the other crowns require. So long as I get that 60-second win, I'm good to go. So just worry about the one that you need to meet. Now, EOL would be completing that, getting my final quartz for that. This thing right here is the last bit up for grabs. Once I do that, I have no more quartz I can farm here. Now, I'll talk about one other possible situation in there, but a lot of people have talked to me because they know, like, I'm not a fan of EOLing games. But if I'm honest, when it comes to Konosuba, you really need to. If you're not familiar, when you go in here, all these things up here, those are your crafting items. You're going to need those to craft weapons. You're going to need those to upgrade units. You're going to need this stuff all over the place. And if you're going after the 3-star equips, like these right here, how many of these do I have? I believe those are the dark ones. I've got 35 of those. So I could make one, but I would really honestly need 5 of them for a team. So there's absolutely no reason why I wouldn't run this every single day, at least once, if not, with all the hard ones, all 3 times. And that's another really interesting point. And I've talked about this before, but when it comes to the main quests, you need to run all the hard modes, every single one of them, 3 times a day. So really, if you don't EOL this portion of the game, EOL meaning end of life, if you don't max everything out here, if everything's not at 100%, you're leaving daily content on the table, which is so much more important than worrying about, am I going to be able to farm up more quartz in a hurry? So you really need to work. Basically what I'm saying is this game is a little bit different than the other games we played. This game, it is very, very, very important to show self-discipline and to avoid using all of your in-game currency, to avoid hitting that recruitment button, to avoid, like, basically wasting all your resources chasing 1 or 2 units. You're gonna get enough out of a 3-star, or even the free-to-plays that we get during the events. You probably don't need to. So don't worry about the quartz situation. Save, like I've been doing, and really focus on your free-to-play units. I think it's going to do you so much more. Now, let's go back here and kind of talk about why this really became an issue. And I'll talk about one extra caveat on here, which I would imagine... Ooh, let's grab our jobs. I didn't even see those were done yet. That would be nice. Say, I don't think you get quartz in here. No, but we get enough items. Definitely need to do that every day. Actually, it looked like we did get some quartz. I don't know, maybe you can get some quartz in there. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's not insanely important. If I go in here to events, this is why I bring this up, okay? Right now, if you have not maxed out all of the normal quests, I emphasize it's normal quests, this is not the hard quests. For every single normal quest that you've got a triple crown on, I should say, you are going to get 50 quartz. That is 6,400 quartz. 2 full 10 draws. 2 full 10 draws just for maxing all these out. So make sure you do this and you take advantage. If you haven't completed all those, if you haven't maxed all the quests, now is the time, guys. It literally will pay you to do that. Okay? So this is important. This is live. I don't know what the actual dates on this are. Usually it'll tell us right here. Campaign. Nope, actually it's not telling us there. But that's another actual valid point. A lot of times we get these double chest drops, and if you do not have your teams, if you don't have your quests maxed, you can't run. Basically, you're not going to be able to run the skip tickets. You have to have triple crown to run a skip ticket on anything. And so that, if you are aware, that actually does mean that 8.3 is a bit of a hassle for me because I have to run that manually. So again, it would be in my best benefit to try to triple crown that as quickly as I can. But check these, because if you're not taking advantage of every single campaign that's here, especially double chest drops, you're losing out on the daily. Plus, one other thing I'll talk about before I get to the one exception to this rule. If I go back up here, right now, let's go to these other rewards. Amazing rewards. So right here, 3 battle arenas. You should be doing that anyway. 20 normal quests. This is super easy to get. 20 skip tickets. And this will replenish you if you just run 10 hard quests. Literally, if you're paying attention to your rewards right now, you are basically paid to Do this every single day. Take advantage. Notice I haven't yet. Shame on me, but that is kind of one of my tasks this afternoon. Every single day. Every single solitary day. Before reset. Sometimes it's a grind the last hour before reset because I haven't... my schedule can get a little grueling. I will make sure that every hard quest is done. Let's go back in here. Every hard quest is done. That I've done enough of the normal quests to get everything I need out of it. But also that I've done everything in here that I need to do and that I've fought those fights. Notice I'm actually still working on my expert team a little bit here, which is why she's just kind of chilling for now. So make sure you are maximizing your efforts in this game and taking advantage of everything you need to take care of. Now, here's the one exception to the rule. Let's get a story. I've done practically nothing. Like, practically nothing. And honestly, until a point that we get a campaign like we've got right now, I'm going to hold off on some of this. And you can see there's a lot of quartz up for grabs here. Now, if I'm honest, if I'm completely frank here, the stories and the events, you do want to make sure you do those. You could probably still, I don't honestly know if you could go back in here and do them all over again. But if you don't do them while they're here, I would imagine you most likely lose them. So make sure you're always doing these quests. Or I'm sorry, I say these quests. Make sure you're always doing the stories from these events. Don't skip on those. But with the main story, the regular story right there, yeah, you can skip on that. I've even skipped character stories and things like that. Anything here that has a new, which, shame on me, that one does, but that's just because I haven't sat down and done the story yet. Got like 2 days, so I got to get on that, but neither here nor there. This is the one place where I actually am saving a bit of quartz. Now, once again, I do fully expect, like we have currently with the main quests, go for it. But in this game, it pays to EOL. Once again, to define what EOL means, maxing out all these main quests. Max out the main quests, max out the free quests, make sure you get all the events daily. Guys, it actually pays. It's super crazy, it's super silly. Don't save main quests. Get them all done every single day. That's the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And do you have interesting ways that maybe you're saving quartz in the game for just such an emergency? Because I know I'm waiting to hear about some of those collabs, namely Damachi. I'm really hoping we get that. When we do, you can expect my quartz up there to diminish properly and quickly. Neither here nor there, guys. That's going to be the video. Like, share, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you all in the next one.